uh, genetics and inheritance, genetic lineages pedigree with 3, Sanbonani, Dumelani, Afsheni, Hello, Nda. So welcome to my class, guys. Today's date 2 April 2024, Tuesday, and the time there is 11:24. So welcome to my class, guys. Those who are returning student, I want to thank you and I would like to say I appreciate you guys. And those who are new here, guys, feel free to comment, feel free to subscribe, and feel free to share. And then here's the thing, tomorrow, it's Wednesday the 3rd April, the school are reopening, guys. We're from Family Day 1 April, and then tomorrow the schools are reopening, guys. So another thing is that I would like to utilize this time, guys, to bring the time back from 1 hour up until 45 up until 30, depending on how much work do we have, right? So there will be a day where I will push it to 1 hour, and then there will be a day that I will push it to 30 minutes, guys, depending on the work that we have. Then when you come back from school, you can have time to watch these videos, guys. Thank you. And then another thing, we are at week 3. We are doing genetic lineages, pedigree, diagrams, and then mutation. We are still on our weekly plan: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? And then Monday we did introduction to pedigree. By this time you know that there's a line between the mother and the father. We call it the married line, and then we have the line of descent, and then we have the an offspring line of sibling line, right? So Monday we did the introduction to pedigree. Tuesday we are going to do a pedigree now, and then from your textbook here. And then Wednesday we are going to do question and answer that are depending on pedigree. And then Thursday we are going to do mutation, and Friday mutation and question and answer. So guys, another thing I would like you to thank you. Welcome to my class. I welcome you guys. So we did a pedigree. I told you what is a pedigree. A pedigree is a diagram that we use to trace inheritance of a characteristics over a many generation. This is the diagram that we use to trace. You can see this is the diagram that we use to trace the inheritance of a characteristics. I also told you the characteristics or the traits over a many generation, right? And then we are doing this for 2 days fully, because we also have you also have to learn how to interpret the pedigree and answer. Today we are going to do how to interpret the question and answer the questions that are related to pedigree. Then tomorrow we are going to see how they bring these questions on our question papers. So thank you. With that, we did this yesterday, guys, our green book. By the way, our mind the gap, we did this mind the gap yesterday. After that, we also agreed that the same thing happening here is the same thing happening on our textbook. So hence we did only the green book yesterday, our mind the gap. So today we are going to focus on our textbook, and then we learn the pedigree thing from our textbook, so that when you use your textbook to read, you should be able to understand what is happening. So yesterday, if I can do a short recap, we did that we have 3 types of pedigree. We are using it. We also said it's a family tree, right? It's a diagram that we use to trace. It's a diagram that we use to trace, or there's the diagram that we use to study. So we have 3 types of pedigrees. Like I've said yesterday, guys, if you can agree with me to rewrite or to do a small revision, we have 3 types of pedigree. And then we said we have autosomal pedigree. You see why we can't do this in 30 minutes, because I also want, guys, for you to understand. And while I'm doing this revision and what I'll be wasting some time. So guys, let's bear with me, guys. Here, let's all of us, we know we are targeting same thing, to pass at the end of the day and end up being something in life, right? With life science, you can end up being many things. You can end up being a genetic counselor, right? So let's move on. That one we'll say it some other time, when we have time to just motivate one another, guys. So okay, we have autosomal pedigree. From autosomal pedigree, we also have a sex-linked pedigree. If you still remember, we talked about this yesterday. And then from sex-linked degree, we also have a blood grouping pedigree. And then this pedigree, we are using it to trace. We are using these pedigrees to trace the specific a characteristic or specific traits, so that if we are dealing with a blood group, we will be tracing how the blood group or how the gene of that group, of that blood group, was passed from one generation to the next. If we are talking about the sex linked pedigree, you know, sex linked, we have hemophilia, we have color blindness, we have hemophilia, and then we have Duchenne muscles, we have two syndromes, Rete and flex. I'm not sure if the flex what, right? So and then in autosomal pedigree, another thing that I would like you to also be reminded is that in pedigree you'll find the square and the circle representing a male and a female. They are just a representative of a male and a female. It doesn't say that, or it doesn't specify, or it doesn't automatically say that when we are dealing with this pedigree we are going to use a sex-linked alleles. Right, when we talk about sex-linked alleles, you know that we have this a male and the female, and we link these alleles on top of the sex chromosomes, right? So another thing, you have like this, and then we are going to have a daughter here and the daughter here. Let's say, for example, you have something like this, you understand it, and then you have something like this, you understand it. And then I also say to you that when you find some, if this is a male, if this is a male and this one is a female, and this one is a female here, this one is a female, and then you find them shaded, it means that the chromosome or the gene that we are studying, it's being phenotypically shown to that individual. For an example, if we are saying we are dealing with autosomal recessive, right? And autosomal recessive, autosomal recessive. By this time you know what is autosome and gonosomes. Sex linked, you know what we are talking about. Autosomes, the chromosome from number 1 up until number 22 pair in a karyotype, you know that thing, right? So those are the chromosomes that we'll be dealing with when we are dealing with an autosomal recessive or autosomal dominant. So here's the thing I was talking about. If you find it shaded like this, it means that she is a female that is affected of that trait, or the phenotypic representation of that person is dominant. I'm not sure if you're getting that. Sorry to use those dominant and what, but we are seeing it here. Let me use an example. Let's take, for example, here's the person we are dealing with autosomic recessive. I'm going to use A and the small letter a as our representative for a dominant and a recessive alleles. It means that this person, because this pedigree is studying a gene that is caused by a recessive allele, it will mean that the shaded one, she will be A. Right? So another thing, let's do like this. Let's do like this for sure. Fast. We're just passing by here. And then here's the thing. And then we shade here. And then we are saying that in this pedigree, we are studying an autosomal dominant. It means that the phenotype that we are seeing here, it's being controlled by a dominant allele. Do you understand? It means that here there's a possibility of capital letter A and small letter a, and capital letter A and capital letter A. You get me? So that's what we are learning, right? So they will give you a scenario. After giving a scenario, let's go to our textbook first. We did this yesterday, right? You did this yesterday. You'll agree with me. And then here's our textbook, right? And then in our textbook, the thing is starting at page 130, if I'm not mistaken. We have done everything: genetic lineages, pedigree, and diagram. So we'll start here, guys. We have done this one. It will be a revision. Let me use purple color today, and I want to use purple color for today's lesson. So okay, genetic lineages, this one is coming after our revision yesterday, right? So we can come in our textbook and see what they're talking about in this pedigree. But a pedigree diagram, also called a family tree, we learned this yesterday. Or a pedigree diagram is also called a family tree, but with our family tree being upside down. You still remember this? Why we concluded that our family tree is upside down? Go back to my YouTube video and rewatch if you are not understanding this. Okay, it's fine. But a pedigree diagram, also called a family tree, it is used or is used to study the inheritance of characteristics in a family over a number of generations. What did we say? What is an inheritance? Inheritance is an action of inheriting a certain gene. When you inherit a certain, let's say your grandfather had a specific gene, and then your grandfather, I would like to use the squares and the circles since we are at this representation. Let's say your grandfather had a specific gene, and then that specific gene was passed to your father, and then that gene was also passed to you as a son. Do you understand? So this passing of gene from this person to this person and this person in this person, we call it an inheritance. You are inheriting something that was passed from previous generation and previous generation. So now we are going to use this pedigree, we are going to use this family tree to study the inheritance, to study how this gene was passed from one generation to the next. And then we are saying we use a number of generation. By that this time you understand, I would like you to understand the meaning of this without even cramming the specific words, because in exam you're still the revision of this, you're going to do it later, maybe around June, and then later after term 3 there you will be doing the revision of this. So if you are cramming this, you will have a problem, guys. So you have to understand from the bottom of my heart and what is a pedigree. A pedigree is something, or pedigree it's pedigree is a diagram that we use to trace, or that we use to study the inheritance of a characteristics or a trait in a family over a number of generations. You can even stand here, you will be fine. So okay, let's move on. But a pedigree diagram in figure 10, see next page, shows inheritance of eye color in humans over 3 generations. Over 3 generations. Brown eye, and then this is the what they will need you to, okay, let's go on, because they also have the step for you to pay much attention to the information that you are given. And then here we can see that we are dealing with an eye color in a human over a generation of a family, right? But a brown eye color is dominant over a blue eye color. It means that we are going to have a capital letter B representing brown, and then small letter b representing a blue. So you know, since this is dominant, we can have this, we can have capital letter B, small letter b, or capital letter B, capital letter B as a possible genotypes of someone who's having a brown color, since it is dominant. By this time you know this thing, right? So okay, we go to our even if we did it yesterday, let's do it again to see if you are understanding it better. For those who are coming back for the next time, let's do it again. And then here's the thing. Let's go to our thing. They say the square represent males and circle represent females. We know about this by now, right? And then they say the horizontal line between the square, Joshua, and a cycle, Ronald, shows they are mated. The line between the female and the male show that they are mated, not that they had sex, because you can have sex and you don't have offspring. You can have sex for pleasure, but they are mated. When you mate, you are mating for the reason of having offspring. You are married and then you mate. Okay, let's find. And then number 3, but the vertical line flowing from the horizontal line. The vertical line flowing from the horizontal line represent the offspring of the 2 parents, Joshua and Ronel. Here we'll say the vertical. The vertical line flowing from the horizontal line represent the offspring, Sarah and Peter, of the, okay, here's what they're talking about. This line here, this is the vertical one again. This, we said, this is a line of descendant, right? It's a line of descendant. It means that the person that are attached to this line, they are the offspring of Joshua and Ronel. Here, this one, they are not offspring of Joshua and Ronel. You can, because they are not attached to this line. If they were attached to this line, they were going to be the offspring of Joshua and Ronel. And then we say this is a line of descendant, line of descent. Right, and then we also have the sibling line here. The sibling line here. This sibling line here, we see it by the strokes. We see it by the strokes. And then we will say that Sarah and Peter, they are the siblings. And Marlena, Frank, Jack, John, Gailey, they are the siblings because they are attached from a sibling line and a sibling line. How many family members are there in this family? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10. And how many parents? How many of these family members are parents? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Since we can see that the mating line here, we can also call it a marriage line, right? So it means that Peter and Veronica, they are married, and Joshua and Ronel, ki mama zala or ki baba zala wa Peter and Veronica. Veronica mo is Quiza Sasara. I'm not sure if that is the right thing again. And then another thing, you can come, and when you get a pedigree like this, they will also provide you with a key, right? They will also provide you with a key, and in this key you can see that square, they will represent male, nothing will change, and the circles will represent female, nothing will change. But here's the thing, they will say that the males that are not shaded, they have blue eyes, and the male that are shaded, they have brown eyes. So because we know that this blue eyes is caused by a recessive allele, it means that we will need 2 BB. Right, this is the steps that we are still going to read when we go down, right? We will need small letter b and small letter b for these recessive alleles to be shown phenotypically. You get me? So we can go to it, since this one is an autosomal. You can agree with me that this is an autosomal because in the statement here they didn't specify. What do we say? To specific. Huh? You're not the word here. Specific. They didn't specify. Yeah, they didn't specify that it's a sexed linked. It's a sexed linked. Right? They didn't specify that. So if it's not sex linked, it means that it's an autosomal a pedigree. So with an autosomal pedigree, we are not going to link our alleles to the sex chromosomes. We are just going to write our alleles as they are. So it means that since they have the blue eyes, Marlena, she have a blue eyes and it's caused by a recessive allele. She's going to have a small letter b. Same with Jack, same with John, same with Veronica, same with Joshua. So here's the thing. If you go and read the key, because you might find that they will trick you and they will bring something like this, but they will understand, they will trick you with an understanding that now you crammed that when we find an individual shaded, that person is caused by a dominant. They will trick you to say now you are not that much. When they trick you, they are not just testing if you are a fool or you are not a fool, right? They're just giving you a critical thinking. Can you think this deeply? You understand? But if you are cramming, you are going to think that all of them that are shaded, because Mr. Pepu, because Mr. Mang, because Mang said those who are shaded, they are affected. It means that since we have a dominant and recessive, those who are shaded here, they are being affected by a dominant allele. And then you'll find that in the key, the one that is being shaded, it's being caused by a recessive allele. So you will need to be vigilant when you come to this. You have to come to the key and see, okay, the one that are shaded or the one that are not shaded, they are representing the blue eyes, and the one that are not shaded in this picture, they are representing a blue eyes, and the blue eye is being represented by a recessive allele. So you can go back and fill in those who are represented by a recessive allele. It's what we did on the picture above. So now we are left with the ones that are brown eyes, and we understand that with our brown eyes here, my brothers and my sisters, with our brown eyes here, it's either we have capital letter B and small letter b, and capital letter B and capital letter B, since it is dominant, and whether it is dominant, when we have one allele that is dominant over the other, the phenotype will be the same. So here's the thing, there's a brown, they are brown. Ronel, she's brown. Sarah, she's brown. Peter is brown. Frank is brown. Gali, she's brown. Right? So how do we differentiate if it's capital letter B, or capital letter B, small letter b? We come here, and then they will advise you to start with the new generation going back up, right? Here's the thing. You will start here to say, oh, we find John here. John is having small letter b, and for this John, we go back to monohybrid crosses. For this John to have this small letter b and small letter b, he inherited small letter b from Veronica and small letter b from Peter. So it means that Peter, he have a small letter b. Do you understand? So now, what is it causing that the Peter, because Peter only the Peter is having a small letter b, but is having a brown eyes. It means that Peter is having a capital letter B and a small letter b, and that capital letter B, it is masking the small letter b. Hence, we sound that Peter, he is brown eyes. And then now we can go to the offsprings about Peter. Since we know that Frank, the possibility of Frank, there's no way that Frank can have capital letter B, because if he's having capital letter B, we are saying that he got the capital letter B from the mother and this capital letter B from the father. But in our scenario, Veronica, she does not have that capital letter B to give Frank. So automatically, we are going to think, or we are going to conclude that Frank got capital letter B from the father and the small letter b from the mother. Hence, she is a brown heterozygous. Right? Same with this one, capital letter B, small letter b. So we are done with offspring. Let's come to Sarah here. So now we understand, okay, Peter is like this, Sarah is like this. So okay, Peter here. Now we come to Peter, and now we have solved Peter's issue. So we come to Peter. Oh, Peter, he got his B from Joshua, right? This one is an autosomal. After autosomal, we also do a sex linked. With sex linked, you also understand that we have X and Y. And then in Y, the Y does not entertain this thing of sex linked and what, unless we are dealing with a sex linked characteristics that is linked to a Y chromosome. Let's move on. And then another thing, you will say small Peter got small b from the Joshua. And then where did he got this capital letter B? He got it from Ronald. You'll agree with me, right? And then here we have Sarah. It means that Sarah also got one capital letter D from Joshua and then one capital letter B from the mother. Why are we saying this? Because she has to have one allele from the mother and one allele from the father, right? So when we come to Ronald, whatever Ronald is giving, whatever Ronald she's giving capital letter B's. She's giving capital letter B's. So if, for an example, Ronald, she was capital letter B and small letter b, will she be able to give her child both capital letter B's? Yes. Also, even if she was having capital letter B and capital letter B, the scenario will still be the same, unless if we were going to see another daughter here, that daughter that is not affected. We were going to conclude that if this daughter is not affected, it means that Ronald here, he is having a small capital letter B. We did this yesterday, guys. Today we are just passing by, right? Today we are just passing by, and I hope you understand this. From there, we will have a sex linked. Go back to my previous YouTube, understand this, and then let's move on. From there, you will see the steps, same step that I was talking about. But the step, remember the following steps when interpreting a pedigree diagram. Remember the step. Step 1, read the scenario. But study any key. Step 1, we say read the scenario. But in step 1, study any key and opening statements and look for dominant and recessive characteristics and the phenotypes. Do you understand? The phenotypes are those that are shaded. These that are shaded, this will be the phenotype. And these that are not shaded will also be the phenotype of the blue eyes. So they might give you a key or they may not give you a key. We did this yesterday and we found that even if they didn't give us a key, we can work out the pedigree. Even if they give us a key, we can still work out the pedigree. So when now you'll come and see the phenotype, here you'll say, okay, the phenotype, this one, she is brown, this one is blue, this one is blue, this one is blue, this one is brown, and this one is blue. And then from there you'll check the genotypes, you'll take the phenotype, you take the statement, and then but a brown eye color B is dominant over the blue eye, as stated in the problem. Same as what I came and did here, guys. You get the statement and then you write it down. Capital letter B to be for brown, small letter b to be for blue. And then this will be the the thing, and this should be your step one, as same as what I did in our step one. And then step number two, write in the phenotypes of all the individual as given in the problem, right? So here the problem, they've already stated in the key, that the key, and then they also show that the shaded one, they are having a brown eyes, right? So the step two was also given to us. But if we don't have the key, you'll go and write Ronel, Sarah, and Gail are females with brown eyes. You'll go and write brown eyes, brown eyes, brown eyes, using an information that you were given, dominant and recessive. And then step number three, you'll have to fill in the genotypes of all the individual with the recessive condition. It must have two recessive. We did this yesterday and we did this also today. We are also doing it again. But fill in the genotype of all the individuals with the recessive condition. It means that, for an example, what I came and did here, I came and find that, oh, the one that are not shaded, they have the blue eyes. And this blue eyes is controlled by a recessive allele. It means that I can go to my pedigree and give those who have blue eyes the recessive alleles. From there I can work. Or if the John is having small letter b and small letter b, it means that he got one from Veronica and one from Peter. Hence we managed to find the genotype of Peter, right? So step number four, for every individual in the diagram that has the recessive condition, it means that each allele was obtained from each parent. Work backwards. Fill in one recessive allele for each parent. For an example, if I'm saying AA, it means that this one got one from the parent and one from another parent. And then now we can say that this one only A and this one only A. So now we go to the pedigree. Is this person shaded or not shaded? If the person is shaded and the shading is being caused by a dominant allele, it means that person only capital letter A. And then this another male, is that person shaded or not shaded? If the person he is not shaded, but the phenotype of unshaded is for the recessive alleles, it means that the person will be like this, right? And they can also ask you in the question that prove that this small letter a is at the right place there. How do you prove it? You will prove it with monohybrid. You will prove it with a Punnett square, because if you have a multiplied by capital letter A and small letter a, the possibilities are there that this a and this a will match, right? And then number five, it says if the parents showed the dominant characteristics. Step number five, if the parents showed the dominant characteristics, fill in the second letter which represent the dominant allele, a capital letter, e.g. B. So here's the thing, they gave you the example here, we're doing it there. The genotype of Peter is capital letter B, small letter b, working backwards from the offspring Marlena or Jack or John, who is homozygous recessive. This means that one of the recessive alleles for Marlene, Jack and John, i.e. small letter b and small letter b, must have come from the parent Peter, and the other one must have to be parent Veronica. So here's the thing, you have the small letter and small letter. It means that this small letter, one came from the father, one came from the mother. And if this one is being a dominant allele and is showing the characteristics of a dominant or a dominant characteristic, it means that that person only a capital letter and a small letter. Where are we getting the small letter? Because the baby is having two small letters. I hope you understand that, right? We did this yesterday. We are just passing by today. And then step number 6, any other individual showing the dominant characteristics will most likely be homozygous dominant or heterozygous dominant. Ronel could be homozygous dominant or heterozygous dominant. What they are saying here is very much simple. All of us, all of these individuals here, since you can come and see, oh, we have these individuals who are showing the dominant, who are showing a brown eyes, that this brown eye is being controlled by a dominant. They can either be dominant, they can either be heterozygous or homozygous. So it's our way to prove it, that is this person a homozygous or heterozygous. And here with Ronel, because the Ronel, we don't have another proof to show that Ronel, he is heterozygous or he is homozygous. We are going to write both of these genotypes together. You get me? So, okay guys, we can move on now. To our activities. Activity 7, and then this one I give you as a homework, right? And then now we are going to do it as a correction, right? This is our class, guys. This is our class. If we go like this, I promise you corrections. Today's date 22/04 2024. I'm going to post this on Instagram, I'm going to post this on TikTok and Facebook as a reel. So correction 2024 2. So here's the thing, guys. I was saying that if we go by this, if we do this together, and if you have your textbook, when every time when you open your textbook, you get reminded of what we were saying here, or maybe you have a hard copy, you write using a pencil. That's your textbook. The person who's going to come next time is going to use a rubber, or that person he or she have their own budget for them to have their own textbook. So the one that we are just using it, the previous one that you are giving it from someone was using previous, is just the school trying to minimize the cost of buying new books, but the budget is there for you to have your own book. So here's the thing. Activity 7, number 1, right. So those who went and write, thank you, guys. And those who didn't get that time, here's the thing. Let's do it together. We are fine. And then number 1, with all the thing that we learn with pedigree, right? We can see let's just, for example, you didn't read you haven't read the statement above here. You can see the pedigree here, right? You can see the pedigree here. The pedigree is the pedigree is consisting of 2 individuals with shaded dots, right? And then if you can go to the key here, we see that the colorblind male is shaded, and the one that is shaded is a colorblind female, right? So we have the key, we have the let's go to the statement. Number 1, the first step, read this and understand what the pedigree is all about. You find it here. So here's the thing. But the pedigree diagram below shows the inheritance of color blindness, also called daltonism. What is a daltonism? A daltonism is a color blindness, or whatever you want to learn it, in a family, right? Then from here we see that this one is a color blindness condition. This one is representing a color blindness condition, right, from this statement. And another statement, but a color blindness is a sex linked. The moment they say it's a sex linked, you know where now each male here is going to be like this, female here she's going to be like this, male here, a female here, a male here, female here, female here, male here, male here, female here, female here, male here, and then male here. Since you know that this chromosome, but it's caused by a recessive allele. With this recessive allele, it means that now you come back to our side. We are going to say all affected female, there's a possibility of them to be like this and to be like this. And then if she's like this, she's a carrier. And if she's like this, she is dominant, a homozygous. And for a male to be affected, you will be like this, and to be not affected, you will be like this. Hence they say the ability to see the color normally is caused by a dominant allele. It means when you are like this, you have the ability to see the color normally. But if you are like this, you are affected, and you are affected. So you come to your to your here, you see that the shaded one, these are the normal male. This one is the normal male, capital letter D, normal male, capital letter D, capital letter D. This one is the normal, capital letter D. This one is normal, capital letter D. This one is normal, capital letter D. And then where's another one? It's like that. You will also do that. And then with males here, you will know that we only have one possibility, and if he is affected, or if he's having a color blind, it means that it's X with small letter D, right? And then with females here, we'll have small letter D and small letter D. And because if she's capital letter D and small letter D, she's a carrier, she's fine, right? So up to so far, this is what we can get. And another thing, how can we get it? We can come here to the 1 and 2. Since this Y was transferred to this son here, and then he had Y, but he got a small letter XD. This D got it from the mother, and the mother here, it shows that she's she has the ability to see the normal. It means that she's a carrier, something like that. She can see normally, but she's carrying a small a recessive X chromosome that when she share it with the Y from the father, they are going to have a son. That son is going to be suffering from the color blindness. So this is how we interpret our pedigree. Or you might find that when you are interpreting this pedigree, and you find that the questions that they are bringing you, they are not much concentrating more on you interpreting all things at once. Like here 1.1, how many of the male offspring of parent 1 and 2 were normal? Male offspring of 1 and 2 were normal. Then we go 1 and 2, their offspring. Let me remove this. That one was how you can interpret it fast, right? You can interpret fast, and you know if it's a sex linked, this is how you link them, and the free. So okay, they said how many male of parent 1 and parent 2 were normal. Here's the trick. They tricked you here. If you can see this person here, they tricked you. If you can just come and read in this line, when you are going to be mistaken by this. But this person, he is not the offspring of 1 and 2. He married offspring number 3 here, right? Because of this line here. The person here married offspring number 3, and then the offspring of 1 and 2 is this one and this one and this one and this one. And the question was, how many of these offspring they have the ability to see a normal color? We have 1 and 2, right? So here answer will be 2. And then 1.2, what percentage of males in this pedigree diagram are affected? Show your calculation. Guys, another thing, if you can hear me reading this question, I reread this question because you will also need to decode the question. I always say about this, you will need to decode a question. What is the question what is it that the question wants? Question le ilava yini? Question le inyaka yini? Question ikotoda mini? Na yi question ifunani le question. Do you understand? Then here bafuna a percentage. But what percentage of males in this pedigree diagram are affected? So we go and count the males. How many males are affected in this family, in this pedigree? 1, 2. One. Sorry. Males, 1 male, right? 1 male. And then how many males do we have in this pedigree? We have 1, 2 in whole pedigree. The pedigree, it represents a family, right? A family. It means that in this family, there's family 1, there's a grandparent 1 and 2, and then babilele bamazala. This one ki makoti mkwenyana. This the one who married number 3 ki makoti mkwenyana. You get me? And then number 5 ki makoti to this family, and then this one ki makoti mkwenyana. He is staying in this family, but do you understand? So we'll come and say 1, and how many males in this pedigree? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All in all, we have 7 males. So we have 1 male that is affected over 7, right? So they want a percentage, right? So when you have to learn how to calculate a percentage. If you don't know how to calculate a percentage, go and read and study how to calculate a percentage. And then we are going to say we have 1 out of 7 males that are affected in that pedigree. But they want a percentage. We know that percentage, it has to be multiplied by 100. And the answer will be, let me go to my calculator fast. Let me go to my calculator. It's 1 divided by 7 equals to multiplied by 100. It will be 14.3. That is 14.3%. This will be the percent, right? And then 1.3, state the genotype of individual 2. State the genotype of individual 2. So if we can go up, maybe like just by this time you have already written the how you can get to number 2. But if you don't know, let's start with number 5, the one that is affected, right? Or we can start here with this number which is affected. This person here is going to have X, small letter d, and Y. And then where did he get the Y? He got it from the father here. It means that this father here, he will be like this. But the X, the small letter X, he got it from the mother. The mother, she's going to have this one, and the one that she will give this one. But since she's able to see color, it means that the dominant one is dominating like this, and this will be the genotype of this mother. She will be a carrier, right? You agree? Will agree with me, right? She will be a carrier, something like this. And individual number 5, we know that when we are dealing with a recessive, she will have to be like this for her to be affected, right? So she will have to be like this for her to be affected when we are dealing with a sex linked. When we are dealing with a sex linked, we know every female that is affected, if that disorder is being caused by a recessive allele, right? It means that every female that is being affected, that person is having 2 of those recessive alleles. But if it is caused by a dominant allele, and then it's a sex linked, but it's caused by a dominant allele, let's say for example you will find a female affected, but the female we can have a possibility of that female to be like this, and we can have a possibility of that female to be like this, since it's caused by a dominant allele. The dominant allele will match the recessive one. But if the condition is caused by a recessive allele, this person should be a carrier. Then let's go to number 5. And then with number 5, Barry, if individual 5, this one again, now we don't have to go up there, we can just refer to this one. And then if individual 5 marries a normal male, they are talking about something like this. And then what percentage of their daughters will have an allele for a color blindness, but will not be a color blind? So how many okay, how many if individual 5 marries a normal male, what percentage of their daughters will have an allele for a color blindness but will not be blind? Here's the thing. Here, the male, for us to have a daughters, this X is going to form with this X. But here we'll have X capital letter D and X small letter d. It means that every time the male gives an X to the daughter, so that the daughter should receive an X from the mother. All of those daughters, they are going to have the small letter d and small letter d, but they are not going to be affected, because the X that they will inherit from the father will be the capital letter 1. So here the percentage will be 100%. So if it was for the son is going to be 100%, because when this Y going and have one X, when this Y goes and have this X, all of them, they will be affected. All of the son, they will be affected, and all of the daughters, they will be they will be have an allele for color blindness, but they will not be blind. So all of them, they will be the carriers, right? I hope you understand it. The answer to this is 100%, right? Don't be confused. I was just trying to explain how are we getting this percentage, right? So we go to number 2. Number 2, it says the person who's sending me messages on this tape. Number 2, it says the pedigree diagram below shows the pattern of inheritance of a certain genetic disorder. The pedigree diagram below shows the pattern of inheritance of a certain genetic disorder controlled by a recessive allele. Yes, very good. This certain genetic disorder is controlled by a recessive allele. The dominant allele is represented by N, and the recessive allele is represented by a small letter n. We can go to our pedigree, and with our pedigree, you go and say a normal male. This one is a normal male, and did they say this one is a sex linked or not sex linked? No, they didn't say it, right? So we will use this. We will use this as a autosomal pedigree. But we have a normal male here, and then we have a normal female, and then they are saying this is caused by a recessive allele. It means that those are affected, they are going to have small letter n, and then yes, very good. Yes, the thing that I was talking about. When because you claimed that the shaded one it's being controlled by a dominant allele, here you are going to get 0 0. You are going to have a beautiful 0 0. Because when you'll be claiming that the shaded one, it means that there's a capital letter N, and or it's like this. You come to the key and see the normal one Here is the normal one, and the cause here is the recessive allele. It means that those who are affected, they are going to have two recessive alleles. And then from there, we know that this one, you get one N from the mother and you get one N from the father. And from there, you know that this one, they are both these two here, they are free. So for them to be free, it also means that it's either they got N from the mother, capital letter N from the mother, or they both get N, or they both get capital letter N, capital letter N, capital letter N, small letter n. Here capital letter L, capital letter N, capital letter N, small letter n. Right? Because there's a possibility of them to get this N and this N. Ne? Or there's a possibility of get this N and this small letter n, and then something like that. Right? Let's go to the questions now and see. We decoded the question, we are fine, we can move on. 2.1, but explain why both parents must be heterozygous for these characteristics. Explain why both parents must be heterozygous for these characteristics. Why these parents has to be heterozygous? Because we have two daughters, or because we have an offspring that is affected. Because we have a offspring, F1, that is affected, and for that offspring to be affected, the offspring have to have two recessive alleles, and for that person to have two recessive alleles, it means that he or she got one allele from the father and one allele from the mother. And since both parents they are not affected, it means that the father he is heterozygous and the mother he is heterozygous, so that the mother and the father they can give the small letter n and small letter n while they are being not affected. I'm sure that you understand that, right? When you will explain it in your own words, that you make it understand it better, but you have to explain this, right? And how did you come up with this question? How did you come up with this answer? By decoding the pedigree that we were given, to see that, oh no man, we have a daughter there, or we have a son there, and that son is affected. And since we have the scenario that this diseases is caused by a recessive alleles, it means that our affected son has to have two NN. And where did he get one N? One small n, he got it from the mother, and one small n, he got it from the father. And since both parents they are not affected, but they can give the small n, both of them they can give small n and small n, it means that they are heterozygous. The question was, explain why both parents must be heterozygous for these characteristics. Since the father is not affected, but if he was having a homozygous like this, we were not going to see the affected offspring. 2.2, give the possible genotypes of a normal children, but 2 marks. This is the 2 marks, just a show that we come and did here. Give the possible genotypes of a normal children. It will be capital letter N, or capital letter N, small letter n. Right? We explain it why it should be like this, right? We did it here. So number 2.3, provide evidence from the pedigree itself. Provide evidence from the pedigree diagram to show that these characteristics is not sex linked. Yes, it's not sex linked, but provide an evidence from the pedigree diagram to show that this characteristic is not sex linked. How are we going to prove it? We are going to prove it. We have a daughter here. Right. We have a daughter. If you can come and say, if it was a sex linked and a daughter was affected, the daughter, she was going to have X, small letter n, small letter n. If, but provide an evidence right from the pedigree. If it was sex, if it's not sex, if it was sex linked, our daughter, she was going to be like this. So if our daughter, she was like this, if this was sex linked, it was concluding that she inherited a small xn from the father, right? And the small x from the mother. And since this is caused by a recessive allele, it was going to cause our father to be affected. For that father to be able to give that small XN linked X chromosome, the father has to be affected. But because we see that the father is not affected, hence he can have the offsprings that are affected. It shows that this pedigree, it is not dealing with a sex linked characteristic. Do you get that? Or you can start, but the father is not affected, right? The mother side, she can be a carrier, it's fine. But if we can come and concentrate in these two, right? If we can come and concentrate in these two, this is where we can get our answer. Because with our son, we can have Y from the father and X as a carrier, and then the mother, she won't be affected. But with the father needs to be affected. The father needs to be affected so that she will have a daughters that are affected. If regardless, the father has to be affected so that he will have the daughters that are affected, given that the mother, she's a carrier, if not affected, because the mother, she's not affected. But given that a mother, she's a carrier, the father will need to be affected here. You see, we can have different answers here. They say 3 marks. You can have different answers, but when you'll have to explain it in a way that you understand it. You can start here that since the daughter, since we have a daughter that is affected, in our sex-linked knowledge, or in my sex-linked understanding, the daughter, she have to inherit one X with a small letter linked N. Or you just write like this. In my understanding, the daughter should have to inherit this from the mother. You write it like this. She will have to inherit X. She will have to inherit this from the mother, and she will have to inherit this from the father. And since this is controlled by a recessive allele, if the father were to give our daughter this allele here, or this chromosome here, it was going to be represented in our pedigree that our father there, he is affected. And since our father there, he is not affected, but he can have an offspring, or he can have a daughter that is affected, that conclude that this is not a sex linked. But provide an evidence from the pedigree. This will be our evidence. Right? I hope you understand that. Then number three, it says, use the pedigree diagram below to answer the questions about dimples. And then very small depressions on the cheeks when smiling. You know the dimples, like the thing that what marami, what dikoti marami, marami. So you can use this. You can, by this time you understand that you can use this pedigree to trace a certain characteristics in your family. Let's take for example, all of your family, you have a extra pinky finger. All of us normally we're 5, and then you have the extra 6, like Sfisongwane, right? So to use him, may his soul rest in peace. And then as Sfisongwane, you can go, okay, Sfisongwane is a father, right? Sfisongwane is a father, and he married that lady, you know, when the one that she was doing the thing, the one that she was doing the, what do we call, the million what wife, right? And then in their family, they have sons or they have daughters that they don't have the pinky. It means that pinky, it was maybe caused by a recessive allele. Right? It means that Mwane on that chromosome, he had a small like this, and the female here, because she don't have that pinky, she had a recessive, she got a dominant alleles from that characteristics. And since she passed it to the small, so now we can see that those daughters or those sons of Sfisongwane, there is a possibility that if that daughter is going to meet me by the side, that also I'm having a full 5 fingers. I'm having a full 5 fingers, but there's a possibility of us having a daughter, that daughter or that son or that daughter to have the 6 pinky finger. Right? You know, Sfisongwane kulungile baba, go and Google about him, may his soul rest in peace. But okay, the dimples, here we are dealing with the dimples, right? But the dimple allele, capital letter D, controls whether a person has dimples or does not have dimples. It means that D is our capital letter, or it's our dominant for dimple. We say dimple, and then small letter D, no dimple. no dimple. But the allele for having dimples is dominant over the allele for not having dimple. So you see here we can come and use our trick nyana, our weapon nyana. We'll say because this one is a dimple, those who have the dimple, there's a possibility of them to be like this, or there's a possibility of them to have like this. But those who don't have who have no dimples, for sure they will have to be like this. So we come to our pedigree, you see that those who are shaded one, they have no dimples. Those who are shaded, they have no dimples. It means number 12, because it doesn't have a dimple and it's a recessive, right? It means that we have DD, and then here we'll have DD, and then here we'll have DD, and then here we'll have DD. Another trick that I told you, that if when you cram that the shaded square or the shaded circle represent the affected daughter, maybe the dominant one, you will have a problem, right? So have a skill, have a skill to interpret a key. Have a skill to interpret a key. When you interpret the key, you are good. So from there, you will come now and say, man, my gang, this one, they have a dimple. It's either they have capital letter and small letter, or capital letter and capital letter. But here's the thing. In number 8 and number 9, because they have the son, and this one, is this a sex linked or not? This one is an autosomal, right? Autosomal. They didn't say anything about sex linked. So it means that we are going to carry our alleles like this. So if we can see that this one, number 12, he got the small d from here. This number 12, he got small d from the mother here and small d from the father here. It means that here we'll have small d again. But these, both of them, they have dimples. It means that we'll have capital letter D and capital letter D. And then number 13, there's a possibility of number 13 to inherit capital letter D and small letter d, or capital letter D and capital letter D, because both of their parents, they have capital letter D to give this child, and one of them, they have capital letter D to give this, if the other one is going to give her a small letter d, right? Then we move to this side. When we come to this side, we can see that no, from our parent, from these are the offspring of number 3 and number 4, right? In this offspring number 4, number 8 and number 9, they got married. These are two families, but in one family, right? It means that number 9 is your father, number 8 is your mother, but they are staying with their grandmother. We are staying with the grandmother of the father, and we are staying with the grandmother and grandfather of the mother, and we are still going in this family. We are still having the siblings of the mother. It means that this family it means that in this family, maybe it's a family gathering, right? Maybe it's a family gathering, something like that. This one will be family gathering. And then you will see that no, man, number 10, he inherited small d and small d. That's the given one, right? And then from there, we will have capital letter D and capital letter D, so that because they have a dimple, right? But number 11, we are not sure that if number 11 is going to be like this or is going to be like this, because two of these, they apply to him, right? And then we come this side. When we have capital letter D, we have capital letter D, and then this side, and then we come to number 1, right? This number 1, number 2 here, because the offspring, all of these offspring, no offspring was suffering from no dimples. No offspring, all of their offspring banally dimple. This guy here, number 1, married number 2 because unal the dimples, right? Maybe they found, hey, my girlfriend, she have a dimple, let me marry her. And then when he married this person, he find likely the person is capital letter D, capital letter D. Why do we find that capital letter D? Because all of the offspring, they have all of them, they have the dimples, right? All of them, they have a dimple. It means that every time the guy give the woman a small letter D, the woman, she's providing capital letter D. The guy give a woman small letter D, the woman she's providing capital letter D, right? So we can conclude it from this scenario here. So let's move on to our question. But 3.1, how many family members have dimples? All of them. How many do they have dimples? We have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. 10, right? 10 of them, right? And then number 2, 3.2, what is the genotype of the individuals? Number 3, the genotype of individual number 3. Where is number 3? Number 3, it will be capital letter D, small letter d, and then number 4, capital letter D, small letter d. We have done it again there. And then number 3.3, state whether the following individuals are homozygous or heterozygous for the following. Number 2, homozygous. We've done this again. We've decoded. You see the advantage of decoding the question. Homozygous. And then number 9, you go to number 9. Where is number 9? 8, 9 here. It's heterozygous. He is heterozygous. And then number 3.4, state the family relationship between individual number 12 and individual number 2. It's a family gathering. So tell us the relationship between individual number 12 and individual number 2. King, let's go. Individual number 12 kiyo. Individual number 2 kiyo. What is the relationship between these two? Yo king wanawa yo. And this king wanawa yo. So it means this one, when he calls number 8 mother aniri, and when he calls number 2, it's a grandmother. You get me? Number 12, when he calls number 8 a mother here. And then when this number 12 calls number 1, because mother, and then here it's a grandmother. So here we'll say individual number 2. We'll say individual number 2, individual 2, she is a grandmother to individual 12. Then when you get your mark. Or number 12, she's a grandson. Yeah, he is a grandson. Sorry to say, number 12 is a grandson of number 2, right? What do we call it? Nduru. Ne? Then from there, thank you guys. Tomorrow we'll be doing, and then thank you guys. Tomorrow we'll be doing, thank you. Then tomorrow we'll be doing question papers, and then from there question papers we'll be doing mutations, guys. You see, mutation is just an information. Mutation is just an information, guys. There's no much of you to learn or to understand. Maybe we can just tell you if this mutation, how is it harmful, and then the gene mutation, chromosomal mutation. But tomorrow we'll be doing question papers that are related to our pedigrees, right? So from now on, from here, from me, guys, thank you. My 1 hour, it's a lapse, but thank you. We've managed to cover everything. So don't forget, guys, to subscribe. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like, guys. Don't forget to comment. And then those who are not having us on our WhatsApp group, 0711906168. This is the WhatsApp that I'm using for this activity. So thank you, guys. Until we meet again, we're going to meet tomorrow. And then from me, Mr. Mpepu, peace. Khutsong ayiwelilina kurula kube nani mlalo ukuthula kube nani. Yeah, thank you. Peace. Mwah.